Courtney Clenney sat silently in the Miami courtroom, her expression composed, almost untouched by the years of waiting. For nearly 3 years, she had been caught in the slow grind of the legal system. No trial, no verdict, just endless anticipation. Her lawyers had built her image carefully, a woman defending herself, a victim of aggression, someone who had acted out of necessity. They argued Toby Obumseli had been the instigator, and for a while, it seemed the case was leaning in her favor.
It comes after the state attorney's office released a shocking video of Clenney attacking her boyfriend just months before he was killed.
But there was one piece of evidence she hadn't known existed, and when it came to light, everything changed.
I actually don't want to be with you. Actually, I'm done.
Okay.
Can you send him home?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm done.
Okay, fine.
Done. Because you're costing me money. I didn't do He's like, I'm in this house because of you.
Toby Obumseli was 27 years old. His friends knew him as charming, fun, and full of energy. He was planning a birthday trip to Barcelona. He had big dreams, a life ahead of him. But on April 3rd, 2022, that life ended. Christian was found fatally stabbed in a luxury Miami apartment. A 3-inch wound to his chest took him away in a moment that stunned everyone who knew him. The 911 call that night was chilling. A woman's voice, apologizing, panicked, begging for help. Yet what really happened in that apartment would shock the world.
One operator down. What is the address of your emergency?
I'm gonna die.
Area man, please.
3101. It's 130, so 130. I'm gonna die.
Ma'am, listen to me. You need to stop screaming on the line and give me the address.
I can't feel my arm.
3101.
I can't feel my arm.
Ma'am,
but my boyfriend is dying of a stab.
Ma'am, what is the address?
Baby, I'm so sorry. Baby.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
What is that?
Listen, ma'am. I'm sending help.
Christian's death turned lives upside down. People asked, how did it happen? Who was involved? Why did it happen in that glamorous Miami setting? The answers were hidden behind closed doors, waiting to spill out. And there was Courtney Clenney. To the internet, she was Courtney Tailor. She was an OnlyFans star and Instagram influencer with over 2 million followers. She posted fitness tips, food pictures, and her party lifestyle. Her fans called her glamorous, fun, and fearless. She was a proud Texan who moved to Miami with dreams bigger than the skyline. On Instagram, she wrote about new adventures, showing off her dogs, Jessie and Ranger. She posted pictures of herself smiling, traveling, living a life most could only imagine. Her online world was perfect, sparkling, and full of attention. But reality was different. Courtney's life was a mix of luxury and chaos. At 26, she had already made millions from OnlyFans. She lived in a Miami penthouse, wore designer clothes, and traveled to exotic places. Her social media made her famous. Men paid top dollar to follow her life. Behind the perfect posts and smiles, she believed she could control everything. She thought beauty and money could protect her from consequences. Christian and Courtney's life together seemed like a dream. They laughed, traveled, and shared private moments that only they could understand. Friends said they were happy, a couple who loved each other deeply. Social media showed photos of them smiling, holding hands, and enjoying life in Miami's sunny glow. To the outside world, it looked like nothing could go wrong. But inside, the story was complicated. Their relationship had its ups and downs, moments of joy and tension. Christian was devoted, Courtney glamorous and free-spirited. Together, they were a mix of excitement and chaos. They seemed unstoppable, like a perfect Instagram story coming to life. Then came the tragedy. Christian was gone. The apartment, the luxury, the bright Miami lights, they all became the backdrop of a story nobody could forget. The case shocked fans, followers, and everyone who had ever watched Courtney's life online. Suddenly, Courtney's glamorous world collided with the darkest reality. It all started long before that day in Miami. In August 2021, Courtney and Christian were in Las Vegas. Their trip was supposed to be fun, but it ended with chaos. Body cam footage from police showed Christian with scratches and bruises. Courtney was arrested for domestic battery. According to reports, a misunderstanding had exploded into violence. Courtney threw a glass at Christian's head. Christian did not hit back. He tried to stay calm, to protect himself. The charges were dropped. It should have been a warning, a sign that their relationship was dangerous. But life moved on, and so did they.
I decided to call because we were getting really loud. It wasn't because I was scared or anything. He wouldn't hurt me.
Did you throw a bottle at him or a glass at him? You say you've done it before.
Yes.
The cop examines the condition of their room. It's a wreck.
There's the glass cup.
I don't feel that I should be getting arrested at all right now.
She's put in manacles.
Is this like a overnight ordeal?
12-hour hold.
12-hour hold? Okay, there's a lot that happened that I didn't say.
Then she's led to a police vehicle.
You'll get to see a judge.
By January 2022, Courtney and Christian wanted a fresh start. They moved to Miami. They rented a luxury apartment at One Paraiso, a tall building with 53 stories, right in the heart of the city. The rent was $12,000 a month. For Courtney, it was affordable. Her OnlyFans empire was thriving. Her social media following was enormous. Everyone envied her lifestyle. She had money, beauty, influence, and a life of luxury. One Paraiso promised glamour and safety, but the couple's fights only got worse. Neighbors saw them arguing. Security officers saw the chaos. Police were called more than once during the months they lived there. The arguments escalated, even in public areas of the building. By April 2022, tensions had reached a peak. On Saturday, April 2nd, 2022, police were called to One Paraiso. Courtney and Christian were causing a disturbance. The front desk attendant told officers they had been arguing for hours. Courtney said she wanted Christian out. She told the police he was staying in her elevator room without permission. Police checked. Christian was a legal resident. There was nothing illegal. Courtney returned to her condo. The warning signs were there. Everyone saw them, but no one could stop what was coming. The next day, Sunday, April 3rd, 2022, would change everything. Earlier that day, around 1:15 p.m., Christian left their One Paraiso apartment, stepping out briefly before returning several hours later. He came back at 4:32 p.m., carrying Subway sandwiches for both of them. At this time, Courtney was engaged in an Instagram live session, posting a Q&A reel just minutes before Christian returned. Investigators later determined that these few hours had been marked by an underlying tension and ongoing arguments that had been escalating over the preceding days. Between 4:43 p.m. and 4:56 p.m., Courtney's mother, Deborah Clenney, called her daughter twice. During these calls, Deborah reported hearing Courtney yelling at Christian, accusing him of lying about something. Nothing in those calls indicated that a deadly altercation was imminent, but the tone reflected the high level of anger and emotional volatility in the apartment. This window, just under 13 minutes, would later be identified by investigators as the critical period during which Christian was fatally stabbed. Around 4:46 p.m., neighbors had become alarmed by the loud arguing coming from the apartment. They called building security, who, in turn, contacted 911, reporting an ongoing disturbance in the luxury apartment complex. This indicates that the chaos was not only internal, but also highly visible to those living nearby. According to police records, the building staff had already become accustomed to frequent complaints about the couple's conflicts, so this latest incident added to an ongoing history of tension that had plagued the building for months.
Behind closed doors, we just started hearing some shouting, yelling. We don't know who was starting what. We didn't get a lot of context. Occasionally we would hear some glasses break and some banging on the walls, floors.
At 4:57 p.m., Courtney herself called 911. On the recorded call, she was frantic and emotional, repeatedly saying, "I'm so sorry, baby." In the background, Christian's voice could be faintly heard, weak and in distress, saying he could not feel his arm. By the time first responders arrived at the apartment, Christian was bleeding heavily from a single stab wound to the chest. Despite immediate medical attention and transport to Jackson Memorial Hospital, he succumbed to his injuries. When police entered the apartment, the scene was chaotic. Courtney was found kneeling beside Christian, holding his head, screaming and crying, repeating his name, and attempting to wake him. Her hands, arms, and clothes were covered in blood, and the apartment bore the marks of a sudden, violent struggle. A kitchen knife lay nearby, seemingly discarded after the fatal blow. Officers immediately detained Courtney, handcuffing her as paramedics worked frantically to save Christian's life. Courtney initially told police she acted in self-defense, claiming she had thrown the knife from a distance of approximately 10 feet, and insisting that she had no other choice. She also reported to officers that Christian had shoved her against the wall by the neck and then threw her to the ground, framing the stabbing as a reaction to being attacked.
Wait, get up right now. Baby, wake up, wake up. Wait, what's your name, Courtney? Courtney. Just keep him sitting up here. Leave Courtney, listen to me. Get up, come on. You gotta get the dogs in. Okay, get up. Please.
However, the arrest affidavit later noted that she provided multiple inconsistent accounts of the events leading up to Christian's death. In one statement, she admitted uncertainty, telling police, "I really don't know if this was justified at all." Investigators also observed that Courtney showed no signs of injury consistent with her account of being physically attacked. This discrepancy, combined with the placement of the knife and the nature of Christian's wound, would later become critical evidence in the homicide investigation. The autopsy conducted by Miami-Dade County Chief Medical Examiner Kenneth Hutchins determined that Christian's stab wound had pierced a major artery in his chest and could not have been caused by the method Courtney described. Instead, it was consistent with a forceful downward thrust, indicating the stabbing was intentional and lethal. In addition to physical evidence, the timing of events was corroborated by key fob records showing Christian's movements within the building. He had exited the apartment around 1:15 p.m. and returned at 4:32 p.m., aligning closely with Courtney's Instagram post and phone calls with her mother. These details allowed investigators to establish a clear timeline of the final hours before the fatal stabbing, the rapid escalation of violence from the moment. Christian returned to the apartment until the stabbing was confined to just over a dozen minutes, underscoring the sudden and tragic nature of the act. Neighbors and building security played a crucial role in documenting the incident. Their calls to 911 and eyewitness accounts confirmed that loud arguing and aggressive behavior had been occurring in real time, providing investigators with external validation of the couple's volatile dynamic on the day of the murder. The apartment itself, a high-end luxury unit at 1 Paraiso, became a central piece of evidence, with its blood-stained interiors, scattered objects, and visible signs of struggle offering a stark contrast to the glamorous public persona the couple often projected on social media. The police looked back at the couple's past. They remembered the Las Vegas fight from 2021. Not only this, in February 2022, a fight in the building's elevator was caught on camera. Courtney was seen jabbing at the touchscreen numbers, smacking the panel. Christian joined her. She hit him on the shoulder and swatted at him multiple times. She pulled his hair from the back of his head. Christian tried to protect himself, using his arms to block and hold her. Courtney continued hitting him, even as he moved her around the elevator. When the doors opened, she followed him out, smacking him on the back with both hands. The footage shocked investigators. Miami-Dade State Attorney Kathy Fernandez-Rundle described the couple's relationship as extremely tempestuous and combative. The violence was constant. Their 2-year relationship had escalated in ways no one could stop. But it's shocking. When she heard about Christian's death, she cried.
So, we have to inform you that Christian did not make it. Okay. Unfortunately, the doctors did what they could. And
Christian is dead.
Yes.
Oh my God. This is not real, right? Okay. No, it's not. Christian died? Okay.
Can I please have a hug? Am I allowed to do that in here?
Sure. What do you do? Okay. Relax. You'll be fine.
No.
Calm down. Calm down. Take deep breaths. Just take deep breaths. You're gonna be okay?
I need to hug my mom.
I'll talk to your parents and get them over here.
I cannot be left alone in like a room by myself.
You won't be.
After this. No, that's not true. That's not real, right?
It is real.
Christian is dead.
Yes. They're not gonna lie.
I know, I just can't believe it.
Deep breaths. Just take deep breaths.
I've been crying so much.
Don't.
And I just can't even cry right now.
But that's not all. The autopsy revealed the fatal wound. The knife had penetrated deeply into Christian's chest. Medical examiners concluded the injury could not have occurred from a casual toss. It was a forceful downward thrust. The death was ruled a homicide. The autopsy revealed the fatal wound. The knife had penetrated deeply into Christian's chest. Medical examiners concluded the injury could not have occurred from a casual toss. It was a forceful downward thrust. The death was ruled a homicide. On the basis of the mounting evidence, authorities moved quickly to build a case against Courtney. 4 months passed before she was arrested. She had fled to Hawaii and entered a rehab facility, claiming she was struggling with PTSD and substance abuse. Authorities tracked her down. On August 10, 2022, U.S. Marshals arrested her at the rehab center and brought her back to Florida. She was charged with second-degree murder with a weapon. The arrest made national news. People were shocked. An OnlyFans model, famous and wealthy, accused of killing her boyfriend in cold blood.
We are charging 26-year-old Courtney Tailor Clenney with 1 count of second-degree murder in Christian's death.
Courtney's lawyers immediately started building her defense. They claimed she was abused by Christian, that she acted in fear for her life, and that the stabbing was self-defense. Her attorneys painted a picture of a tumultuous, violent relationship. They described incidents where Christian supposedly pushed or threw her. They said she had no choice when the fight escalated that deadly afternoon. Courtney herself claimed she feared for her life. She told police she was pinned against a wall, thrown to the ground, and had to grab a knife to defend herself. The problem? Forensic evidence told a different story. Crime scene investigators studied the apartment carefully. Blood spatter patterns showed Christian was likely on the floor when he was stabbed. The knife was found inside the apartment, not in a wall or thrown across the room. The fatal wound was made by a strong downward thrust. That contradicted Courtney's story of throwing the knife from a distance. Police began to see the act as intentional, not accidental. Courtney's parents, Kim and Deborah Clenney, soon became part of the legal chaos. Investigators discovered that after Christian's death, the couple's Miami apartment had been emptied of some of his belongings. His laptop ended up in the hands of the Clenneys. Prosecutors alleged the parents tried to access the laptop and delete evidence. They were charged with felony computer crimes. Messages between Courtney, her parents, and her lawyers revealed plans to unlock Christian's laptop and examine files. The charges were later dropped in July 2023, after a judge ruled that attorney-client privilege had been violated. Even so, the actions suggested an attempt to obstruct justice. Courtney's trial prep began in Miami. In court, she claimed she was the victim. She said Christian had been abusive throughout their relationship, pushing, choking, and threatening her. She described their arguments, the jealousy, and the fear she felt during fights. Courtney told the court that on the night of the stabbing, she acted in self-defense, grabbing a knife only because she thought her life was in danger. Defense lawyers argued she had been abused, and that Christian was the aggressor. They asked the court to inspect Christian's body, even though he had been buried in Texas, so a medical expert could evaluate the self-defense claim. However, Courtney appeared in court several times. She sat quietly, sometimes crying, sometimes listening as attorneys argued. She was held without bond. Her lawyers pushed for her release, claiming she was not a flight risk and had no prior convictions. The judge denied bail. The courtroom was tense. Every time her lawyers spoke, the details of Christian's death came back into focus. Then came the leaked videos. One showed Courtney attacking Christian in the apartment elevator in February 2022. She hit him, pulled his hair, and shoved him multiple times. Prosecutors wanted to use this to show a pattern of aggression. Defense lawyers argued the video was taken out of context and could prejudice the jury. The court debated whether the video should be played at trial. Social media erupted. People argued about who was the real victim. Courtney's defense team also argued that Christian had recorded her yelling and berating him. In some recordings, she used racial slurs and cursed at him. Her attorneys said the recordings showed she was being provoked, manipulated, and pushed into fights. They claimed the public and police only saw part of the story, and that Christian had been abusive in private. The courtroom drama intensified when prosecutors revealed that an employee had taken photos and videos from the apartment scene before police arrived. Defense lawyers said the evidence was tampered with and asked the judge to consider it when deciding whether to allow certain files at trial. They argued that deleting this content could have removed proof helpful to Courtney's defense. Courtney's parents appeared in court alongside her. Kim and Deborah wanted to get back iCloud data that investigators had seized. The judge ruled that prosecutors could keep the files for now. This meant the investigation into Christian's death would continue, with digital evidence remaining in the state's hands. Courtney's lawyers kept fighting to protect her privacy and her right to a fair trial, claiming investigators were overreaching. Over time, more courtroom filings revealed tension between defense lawyers and prosecutors. Some attorneys even asked for the state attorney's office to be removed from the case, citing previous mistakes in handling the laptop and privileged communications. New motions delayed the trial multiple times. The defense said the violations could prevent Courtney from receiving a fair trial. The prosecution said these claims were exaggerated. Finally, Miami-Dade Circuit Court set a new trial date. The case would now be heard starting December 1st, 2025. Defense and prosecution prepared for an intense battle. Courtney's lawyers planned to argue self-defense, using psychological experts, recordings of Christian's behavior, and demonstrations to explain how she could have acted in fear. Prosecutors focused on the forensic evidence, the downward stab wound, blood spatter, and testimony showing that the act could not have been accidental. Courtroom observers knew this would be a media spectacle. Social media buzzed with opinions. Fans of Courtney claimed she was being unfairly treated, while supporters of Christian demanded justice for his death. Every motion, every filing, every hearing kept the public glued to updates. Christian's death is a stark reminder that violence can come from the most unexpected places, and once it happens, the consequences can never be undone. And if you like this video, be sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more updates.